Satnam, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today in this message connected to my spiritual guides and really coming from my own personal experience. I first of all want to thank you for those who reached out after I sent out the call regarding anyone who's interested in exploring the Shamanic Soul-Alignment and Energy Healing Sessions that I'm offering. This is a great opportunity, I believe, for me to continue in the practice, the methods that I've learned to help establish a lifestyle of well-being and to be able to transcend our first idea of what the nature of reality is. And this actually brings me to today's message, where I wanted to speak about our perception of what reality is. And the reason being because in shamanism, at least what I've been taught and where my gifting lies in, is how to transcend our old definition of the nature of reality, which is really important when we speak about our spiritual awakening and getting to know who we are at soul level. And why is this important? It's because knowing who you are at soul level is knowing your truth, knowing who you are, how you were created by cosmic source, right? And we want to learn how to separate our old viewing of ourselves, of the normal, ordinary life. We're gonna call it that, right? And the life that we enter into when we begin to tune in to the fifth dimensional levels of energy in our spirit guides. And the way I like to think about this, I hope will help illuminate something for you today, is that when you begin to see life as a story, knowing that, okay, there was this old chapter of my life in which I was living in an ordinary way of perception, of perceiving things. And then I started being led to this path where my soul was calling me. And now when you're in this new plane, in which we like to call as shamans the spiritual state of consciousness or altered state of consciousness. In the state I like to say I'm always find myself in is up in the ethers, up in space, in the realms of spirit, right? But one thing that came in today was that whether you happen to find yourself falling back into the old story paradigm of the ordinary nature of reality that we had to go through in order to experience who we are not, right? Because you won't know what you want until you come across what you don't want, And then you start declaring for yourself through spiritual authority and taking back your own personal power so you can really begin to make conscious awareness decisions in your life. No experience is wrong. And this is something that our friend Sam mentioned, that when you work or interact with somebody else, another soul, you don't want to bring judgment to them, because in that judgment, that's really you putting on the lens of the ordinary reality of that comes with judgment and fear and anxiety. And this is a perception of reality that isn't soul aligned, connected to source energy. Now, when you put on the lens of cosmic seeing and perception, you see yourself, you see the other in front of you as a reflection of you, right? And you see them as beautiful, as happy, as whole, as healed, confident, powerful. And that's when you are in your true power. That's how you know that you are in that altered state of consciousness in the spiritual realm, where to the ordinary person who has their glasses off, or their eyes are closed, or they're asleep, they might think it's impossible, right? Or that doesn't exist. But that only is being said because when they've forgotten who they are in that moment, or they've never experienced that love, that state of ecstasy, and altered state of consciousness and experiencing the realms of the ethers and the spirits and our angels and God, right? And so this is where spirit is coming in today and saying, girl, give yourself some grace. One, this journey, realize, is you can never get this wrong. And I say this from experience, because for those of you, when you feel like so harsh on yourself and you just feel this cloud of negative ways of perception and perceiving things and fear-based, that ordinary state of being asleep, so to speak, you have to remember that it's an experience. It's meant, that part of you is meant to help you, to just kind of nudge you and say, wake up. You've fallen asleep again. It's time to come back into that state of consciousness and owning your truth of who you really are. And you have to make a decision and choices daily. And this includes not only in the actions and the words you speak and the way you think, all of it. You have to embody and truly step into that reality of who you really are and believe it. You have to believe it. Because if you don't believe in that truth, then that's when you doubt yourself and you shift the other direction. So honor where you are. Worship the feet that carry you, the body that you have, and your own experience. Because as I learned, the experiences that have hurt, and I'm not going to say they didn't hurt, right? But they were really you shedding out your cocoon so you can metamorphosize into that gorgeous being that you are, and then share that, and then help bring that light to somebody else so that they can believe it for themselves too. And this is how we go out and change reality to back into alignment to truth. And this is something that was shed by Lord Vishnu yesterday, he just came forth and he said, as Lord Vishnu is the restorer of balance between your old life and your true self, of the self that didn't know who you were or are, right? And the self who knows who she is or he is, right? That once you know who you are, once you get a glimpse of that, I don't want you to anymore separate that self and only give it to, like, when you're serving. That self isn't only from 9 to 5 or whenever you're working with somebody else. That self, that nature of you, it goes at such a deeper level. Like, if you were just to embrace yourself and see yourself as worthy and step into that nature, who you are all the time, bring her home, bring him home, to your husband, to your partner, to your brother, because it's also in those relationships where it really hits home and those people are close to you, you know, that they tend to trigger you more. That's where, you know, they will help you to do that inner work so you can continue to grow, as you also help them, right? Like when you spread that love and true nature of who you are, that light. I also wanted to say that it's going to take me a little bit of time to get through and reach back to those who've reached out, to be clear with the nature of the work that I do. Going back to the stories, I can see what it is that someone desires and what it is their current block is. And from there, I ask Spirit to show me what is it, the gift or wisdom that I can share, and see what it is that you need. And sometimes if you are still not used to wearing your spiritual lenses and walking that daily life in spirit, then it might require some energy clearing, and that will come with spiritual practices that will help to energize, to release old stagnant energy and strengthen your energetic body, so that you can continue to hear the whispers of your true self and be aligned to your soul's blueprint calling. And so if we are called to work together, it'll be my honor, because we will be in a state of relationship where we can both learn from each other and grow. And so today I want to help you, remind you that the light you see in me is the very light I see in you. And this is, until next time, Sat Nam. May we only see truth, and may we only speak truth, and may we believe in that truth. Until we meet again, thank you.